Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Is this real life? Is this really happening? It's honestly hard to tell. Every single day in this incredible storyline that is, planet Earth, something new, shocking, and frankly something you never thought you'd see before seems to happen. A couple days ago, Elon Musk is launching a hostile takeover of Twitter, and then a couple days later, or yesterday, Jack Dorsey is essentially slamming CNN and Brian Stelter? Jack Dorsey, enemy of free speech, is having a based moment. Now, of course, this doesn't undo all the wrongs. It doesn't redeem Jack Dorsey fully, a man who claimed to run a free speech platform, not being a staunch defender of free speech as it crumbles before him. That is unforgivable. But you know what? You gotta give credit where credit is due. And if somebody is ragging on CNN, especially somebody as influential and as massive as Jack Dorsey, well then you know what? You just gotta be there for it. You gotta support it and say, good on you. I never thought I'd be saying that, but 2022 seems to be a year full of surprises. Good on you, Jack Dorsey. So I got some stuff to show you guys. Jack Dorsey went on a Twitter rampage. Honestly, it kind of felt like an Elon Musk Twitter rampage. Some truly incredible stuff. Let me update you guys on everything that's going on. Let's talk about all the different elements here. But of course, before we get into any of it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. And with that out of the way, let's roll the tape. Alright, Day, so first off, can we get some appreciation for the meme of the day? That was created by @SilentMemeMajority, or Meme Majority, however you want to pronounce it, and I just think it's absolutely incredible. But now let's get into the nitty gritty. Brian Stelter tweeted something on his Twitter account, and so obviously it's gonna be a complete disaster. And before I show you guys what Brian Stelter tweeted, let me just give you guys a second to guess what Brian Stelter was tweeting about. Well, you probably guessed it because it could be either two things. Either he was tweeting about Tucker Carlson and Fox News and just how evil and deplorable Fox and Tucker is, or he was tweeting some pro-censorship garbage nonsense or some fake story. Well, you guessed it because that's basically all Brian Stelter did. This time, it's about Tucker Carlson. Brian Stelter tweets out a Washington Post piece on Tucker Carlson. This guy is literally obsessed, and writes, Tucker Carlson is always selling the same thing. @PBump says, he's selling doubt. Now, first of all, I don't know why selling doubt would be a bad thing, but of course this is coming from Brian Stelter, the guy who said this.
4 little words that are hurting America's pandemic response. What are they? Here, let Sean Hannity tell you. He loves these words.
Do your own research. Please do your own research. Do your own research. Do your own research. There's a ton of it right on, at the tip of your fingers on your own phone.
Right, and that's the problem. Do your own research.
But who cares about Brian? Who cares about his tweet? What's important here is Jack Dorsey's response. Jack only wrote a couple words, but potent and sending a clear message. And you all are selling hope? Brian Stelter getting called out for exactly what we've been saying for a very long time. Jack is right. Brian Stelter has this moral superiority complex. I don't really know whether it's authentic or not, or whether he's just playing a role, whether he's, just a sociopath and just doesn't care. But this idea that Brian Stelter is the moral authority and that CNN is this very credible place with a great reputation and Fox News is this terrible cesspool of misinformation and hate is a complete farce. And even Jack Dorsey knows it. But of course the Twitter checkmarks came out in defense of CNN, or I guess just to play devil's advocate against Tucker Carlson. James Ball on Twitter writes, well, unlike Tucker Carlson, they are at least not selling testicle tanning, to which Jack Dorsey responds, amazing, substantive comeback. James Kent writes, news reporters work to inform the public. Their organizations are only selling truth. You serious? Are you trying to make us feel like Elon can be an improvement in understanding this? It won't work. To which Jack Dorsey responds, wrong group chat, or I'm just as confused. When did Jack Dorsey say anything about Elon Musk making an improvement to newsrooms? And the sentence, their organizations are only selling truth? You have got to be out of your mind or living under a rock. Then there's this little interaction. Even @CNN sometimes sells false news. I know this from covering Iraq events in 2019. People need to understand every media is prone to either mistakes or deliberate corruption. Do your own investigation before believing what they're selling you.
Right, and that's the problem. Do your own research.
To which Jack responded, I know this from being on the streets of Ferguson during the protests and watching them try to create a conflict and film it, causing the protesters to chant F CNN. I mean, he's just schooling these Twitter liberals. And if he continues in this route, even though Jack Dorsey is no Republican, no conservative, he literally identifies as a hippie, he is going to become the next left-wing boogeyman. This is what happens when you take facts to the left. And here's another example, completely unrelated by the way. CNBC tweets, White House says it expects inflation to be extraordinarily elevated in new report. Jack retweets that and writes, every administration, Republican or Democrat, has an opportunity to build trust with the public. Instead, every single time they choose deception and zero accountability. It's not the party, it's the system. To which Joy Ann Reid from MSNBC writes, the most dishonest actor in the media, yes, one party openly admits that inflation is going to rise. The other demagogues inflation by pretending the president personally caused it, not the pandemic plus a whole war in Europe. Also, they can seize power while repeatedly undermining democracy, but, quote, both sides. What an absolutely trash argument. Here's a little economics lesson for you there, Joy Ann Reid. The war in Europe, which literally just happened, and we don't even have inflation numbers that truly represent the impact of the Ukraine-Russia crisis yet, is not the cause of inflation. Inflation is the increase in money supply. How many times do we have to show this graph to these ignorant liberals? Here's the M2 money supply graph. This is Joe Biden's presidency. When you print more money, unaccounted for, when you print trillions of dollars, you add more dollars into circulation, and that causes inflation. Yes, it's Joe Biden's fault, directly. And that's not to say that Republicans don't print money too, because they absolutely do, even Donald Trump did. That was a mistake, but Joe Biden is taking it to a whole other level. Then Tom Cotes writes, I'm sorry, but no. US money printing would have an effect worldwide, but it wouldn't have this effect. Not even the US government is that powerful, even though the US dollar is like the reserve currency of the world, but I mean, okay. To which Jack responds, you don't understand the power of the dollar and our single export. Ask someone in Nigeria how the dollar affects them. I mean, he's red-pilling folks out here. He is absolutely slamming these liberals online, and I am all for it. I don't agree with Jack Dorsey on a myriad of different issues. I'm sure we have different perspectives, but I'm sure we also line up on a lot of them. I'm a huge supporter of cryptocurrencies. So is Jack. Clearly, he's got a sensible understanding of inflation and its downsides and the way that it affects the world. Of course, the world's poor. He seems to agree with me that CNN is fake news, and so maybe Jack Dorsey ain't so bad and I could have a beer with him. I could not say the same about Joy Ann Reid from MSNBC or little Bri potato head Stelter. Maybe after all there's a redemption arc for Jack Dorsey. Maybe. My only real issue is the whole free speech thing. It also baffles the mind that someone like Jack Dorsey, who's so into decentralized systems and so into cryptocurrencies, wouldn't be a staunch supporter of free speech. But again, who knows? Maybe he is, and maybe he just never had a choice. Maybe he just wasn't the most powerful person at Twitter. All I know is that I could respect somebody who comes out and tells it like it is, regardless of stepping on people's toes politically, and Jack Dorsey is doing that. And it seems as though this whole Twitter situation with Elon Musk has Jack Dorsey maybe changing a little bit. Also, in relation to that, there's this story right over here. Former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey lashes out at Twitter's board as Elon Musk tries to buy the company. This individual on Twitter writes, if you look into the history of the Twitter board, it's intriguing as I was a witness on its early beginnings, mired in plots and coups, and particularly amongst Twitter's founding members. I wish if it could be made into a Hollywood thriller one day. And Jack writes, it's consistently been the dysfunction of the company, essentially siding with Elon Musk, who's been slamming the Twitter board over the last couple of days. All I know, folks, is it's nice to finally see at least a couple billionaires and even a liberal billionaire, a left-wing billionaire, who's been the antagonist this entire time, at least kind of redeeming himself a little bit. It'd be nice if we had more billionaires who stood up and did the right thing, and it'd be nice if Jack Dorsey had an epiphany moment, especially when it comes to free speech. And hopefully Elon Musk is changing that culture one billionaire at a time. That's what I got for you guys though. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, share the video as much as possible. We are still shadow banned by the YouTube algorithm, hidden from non-subscribed viewers. I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.